Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me on episode 12 of A Voice from the Ever Change. Now, this is a meditation series. I do some guiding meditation and I often read a poem and offer a commentary from my latest book, A Voice from the Ever Change. But today, Sunday, is a little bit different. Sunday is Q&A day, question and answer. And so I will offer the guided meditation. We'll just do a brief guided meditation through the breath and the body, the sounds, kind of the traditional meditation that I've been offering here. But rather than going into the poem and the commentary, I'll address a few questions that were sent to me through Messenger. And by the way, if you do have any questions or comments, if you'd like a PDF copy of A Voice from the Ever Change, the best way to send those over to me, those requests, comments, or questions, send them to me through Facebook Messenger. Or Instagram works as well, but Messenger is usually the best way. And today I'm going to be talking about meditating while discomfort is arising in the body, in the mind, in the heart, and how meditation can be used as a pain management technique, including the type of meditation that I'm offering here on this series. It has been used as a pain management technique in dentist offices and hospitals throughout Europe and America. So it's not only my theory, but it's a tried and true medical technique, if you will. So the science is there as well as the ancient philosophy. So without further ado, as they say in France, I will offer this meditation. I hope you all enjoy, and I will see you at the finish line. So allowing the body, mind, and heart to settle. Coming into this present moment experience. Noticing the breath as it enters and leaves the nose. The sensations of the breath are always present moment sensations. There might be a cool or a dry sensation at the nose. You might notice the temperature is slightly different in one nostril over the other, or perhaps you're breathing in more air through one nostril over the other. And allowing awareness to expand, to include the back of the throat, noticing the breath as it touches the back of the throat. You might simply notice the temperature changing from cooler to warmer as you inhale and exhale. And allowing awareness to expand again, to include the rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath. You might notice sensations of clothing moving to adjust with the rising and falling of the body, the chest, and the abdomen. Noticing the back moving out as you breathe in and in as you breathe out. Noticing the shoulders rising and falling with each breath. And while resting with the experience of breathing, sensations from the nose to the abdomen to the nose, Allow awareness to expand again, to include sensations of clothing against the shoulders, noticing the arms resting against the body, the hands resting against the body or touching each other. You might also notice sensations of clothing against the back, the weight of the body against the chair or cushion, mat or floor. Perhaps also noticing sensations of clothing against the legs, noticing the feet against the mat or the floor. And while maintaining awareness on all of that, all at the same time, bringing attention to the top of the head, noticing any sensation arising from the crown of the head. Allowing awareness to expand to include the back of the head, noticing any sensations arising at the back of the head. Allowing awareness to move through the back of the neck and the ears, noticing sensations arising from the ears. Awareness moving into the cheeks of the face. There might be sensations arising from the cheeks of the face and the chin, the lips, the nose and the eyes. Sensations arising through the forehead. And allowing awareness to expand back to the top of the head. And so we'll rest there for a few moments, maintaining even, open, spacious awareness. Sensations of the breath from the nose to the abdomen to the nose, and sensations arising throughout the body, from the top of the head to the bottoms of the feet. And just rest, breathing in and breathing out. And now, while resting in the experience of breath and body, allow awareness to expand again, to include any sounds which might be available during this present moment experience. There might be the sound of music coming from nearby or a television. Perhaps a nearby conversation. There might be the sound of wind blowing outside, or perhaps rain falling. You might hear the sound of a heater or an air conditioning, the sound of my voice. Not focusing on any one sound in particular, but noticing the entire field of sounds. Hearing all of the sounds all at the same time. Listening to the soundtrack of the present moment. And in addition to any sounds, paying close attention to the quality of still silence within the aural field. And when you listen to the silent space in that way, you might notice how that still silence seems to surround and permeate the present moment. And so we'll rest right there, maintaining open, spacious awareness on the silence and sound, body and breath, and just rest, breathing in and breathing out. And if at any time during the meditation you become distracted by your thoughts, that's okay, that's quite normal. When you recognize your thinking, simply label that process with the word thinking, which will allow the thoughts to dissolve, and gently return back to the present moment experience. Okay, it's question and answer time. So, I got several questions this week about meditating with discomforts, pain, anything from the very, I don't know how to say, the very minor pain or discomforts of itching or irritation during the meditation practice, all the way up to chronic, severe pain, and how we cope with that, how that can be done. And so there are many views on this. Some teachers are really strict about meditating. When one is meditating, they're supposed to stay very, very still, and it's thought that even if you scratch an itch during the meditation, you're not meditating anymore, and then you come back to the meditation. There are other teachers who say, oh, that's no problem if there's an itch or an ache or your foot's falling asleep, you just scratch the itch or you move your leg to alleviate the foot falling asleep, and then you continue meditating. And then the avenue that I generally take is kind of in between those. Now, I said generally because this is sort of this type of questioning is better done on a one-to-one setting, because then I get to know the person's practice, I get to know their tendencies, and I can cater to that more easily. But so we'll have to deal with generalities for this session. But generally, what I recommend is that if when one is meditating, and let's use the example of an itch for now. So let's say you've started the meditation practice, you're feeling the breath at the nose, the back of the throat, maybe the rib cage is moving, so forth. And then maybe an itch arises in the shoulder. That's really common, or maybe at the nose. The nose is quite common for me, actually. I get itches in the nose. So when that happens, if that happens, before you move to scratch the itch or alleviate the foot if it's sleeping, whatever the irritation is, before you move to alleviate that irritation, ask yourself the question, can I rest with this? Now, if it's an itch, using the example of the itch on the shoulder, the itch is there, I notice the itch, but before I move my hand to scratch it, can I rest with this? Now, sometimes the answer might be yes. It's just an itch, it'll go away, and then I can just maintain the resting of the meditation, continue with the practice. It kind of fades away back into the body on its own. That's fine, that's really nice when that happens. Sometimes the answer is no. And if you feel that itch arise and you're meditating and you say, okay, can I rest with this? And it's really intense, maybe it's a mosquito bite or something like that that's bringing up a lot of irritation. Scratch the itch. If you're going to obsess about it the whole practice, it's going to take you out of the practice, then by all means scratch the itch or move the leg if the leg is falling asleep. Whatever it is, the irritation that's taking you out of the practice, move to alleviate that irritation and then come back to the meditation like that. Now, the reason for this, posing that question, can I rest with this, before making the move to alleviate the irritation, is very, very powerful. Because now what we've done is we've brought mindfulness to the decision of moving away from discomfort and grasping at comfort. You see, we all have that tendency. It's a part of the human DNA. We all do that. We all push away discomfort and grasp at comfort. That's actually quite normal, natural part of being a human being. Nothing wrong with that. However, what tends to happen when we do that unconsciously, and what can happen, and what does happen quite often, is we move away, we push away the discomfort, and we grasp for something which we think will give us comfort, but it's actually more poison. Right? We push away the situation or the irritation or the discomfort, and we grasp at something we imbue as something that can give us comfort. We imbue with this quality that can alleviate that discomfort. But often it's not the case. Often it's a temporary alleviation which actually leads to more discomfort. And that's the birthplace of all addiction right there, right? When we can't handle what's happening, so we reach for that cigarette. Or we don't want to deal with that, so we reach for that beer. Whatever it is, whatever the addictive substance is, we reach for that because we think that that's going to alleviate the discomforts of the present moment. And so using the meditation practice for the ground to learn how to bring mindfulness to that decision, very, very powerful. Because sitting for however long, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter how long, if you try to sit still for even 5 minutes, something will arise that's not comfortable. It's just, that's just how it is. Unless you have a meditation practice, unless you've cultivated quite a sturdy meditation practice, generally there will be discomforts arising in the body or in the mind or in the heart. Before we move away from that discomfort, can I rest with this? Very powerful. It creates that space, that gap. Then you say, no, can't rest with this. Then you mindfully move to scratch that itch. Come back to the meditation practice. There. The more you do that, the more the easier it becomes to do that in everyday life. So discomfort arises in the body. Maybe you're watching the news and some politician, says something that, makes you feel uncomfortable. Instead of, going out and firebombing the Capitol or whatever it is that you might do, or instead of getting really angry, you might say, well, can I rest with this? And so the answer might be yes, that's fine. Now you can mindfully move forward, to address that discomfort. The answer is no, you can still then mindfully move forward like that. So the idea there is to rest, create that gap, rest in that gap, and then make the decision with mindfulness, whether you scratch that itch, whether you move away from that discomfort. Then you can move away from that discomfort in a mindful way, in a responsible way, in a healthy way, in a way that causes less suffering for yourself and for others, like that. So that is one of the great benefits of discomfort arising during a meditation practice. We often think, well, I don't want to meditate because I'm going to feel uncomfortable. Who wants to sit for a half an hour? My body gets itchy or my muscles cramp up. There's great benefit in the discomforts of meditation if we can embrace those discomforts with mindfulness. Now, when I say embrace, I don't mean, we don't want to be ascetic about it. We don't need to love the pain or anything like that, but just to recognize that there is a great lesson with that experience of discomfort, if we can approach it in that way. Okay, now I also got some questions about chronic pain and things like that, and this works with chronic pain, it works with emotional pain, and it works with the irritations as well. Now you'll notice at the beginning of this session, and in most of the sessions that I guide, 99% of the sessions that I guide, I involve embracing the sensations of the breath, the body, and the sounds. So we're not focusing on any one particular aspect of that, but noticing that breath, body, and sounds are all a composite experience of the present moment. They're all present. Now, many of you might notice that when you're starting with the breath and you're feeling the nose, the back of the throat, the rib cage, and then you've forgotten about the nose. And then you go to the abdomen and you've forgotten about the throat, and so forth. That's quite normal and natural. With practice, with time, eventually one begins to hold the breath, the body, and the sounds all together as one experience. And so that's quite important for pain management. And so I'll kind of explain why. I'll use a real life example. A few years ago, I got an infected gum. It was quite painful. Now, and if any of you know, if you have this like a raging toothache, you know how all-encompassing that can be, right? It just takes up all of your thoughts. And that's quite normal if you've never meditated before, or if you have just a very beginning meditation practice, because your awareness is actually quite small. Most people, when they have just a beginning meditation practice, or they haven't meditated at all, they see the world kind of looking out from behind these eyes here, right? And the world is just there in this screen, and the body just kind of dangles there below you, like that. That's your normal, everyday layperson's meditation, or layperson's experience of the world. That's quite normal, nothing wrong with that. But if somebody has a toothache, like an infected gum, with that much awareness just looking out at the world, that toothache fills all of that awareness. And so the thoughts will be all about the toothache. It'll be, when can I get to the next pain pill, or when can I get to the dentist? How am I going to eat the next meal? And so forth. All of your thoughts are about that. How am I going to sleep with this? That kind of thing. Okay, So maybe after a few weeks or a month or 2 months of meditating with this kind of expansive awareness, going through the breath, going through the body, we're practicing stretching our awareness, much in the same way that when people practice yoga, they're practicing stretching their body. Here we're practicing stretching our awareness, opening our awareness, gradually getting larger and larger, like that. So after 6 weeks or 2 months of practice, you might be able to feel the whole breath all at the same time throughout your day, not just in meditation, but throughout your day. So now your awareness that was just this is now maybe like that big. So now the toothache is there. It's still, taking up some of your mental activity, but you can also recognize all of the breath all at the same time. You might also notice some of the sounds. You might be able to hear the crickets or hear the traffic going and feel the pain at the same time. So it actually feels like the pain is getting smaller because awareness is getting slightly larger. Maybe a month or 2 months later, after practicing consistently, you might be able to feel the whole breath and the whole body. Global awareness, I like to call that, of the breath and body. Now when you get a toothache, well, that toothache is literally the same size, but it feels much, much smaller because your awareness is much, much larger, right? So you feel the pain of the toothache, that's fine. We're not trying to repress anything. We're not trying to ignore anything or push anything away. We're actually embracing the present moment. So we embrace the sensations of the toothache, the infected gum in this example, but we can also feel the sensations of clothing against the body, the weight of the body against the chair, the sensations of clothing on the legs, the feet against the floor, and so forth, because our awareness is now large enough to hold all of that in awareness at the same time. So the toothache, it's not so all-encompassing anymore. Now with a little more practice, we're resting in the breath, feeling the entire breath, feeling the entire body with global awareness, and hearing the sounds. Right? Well, now our awareness is, as large as our environment. We're taking in all of the aural field, the sounds and the silence of the present moment, feeling all of the body, and feeling all of the breath. Now that's a lot of sensory experience. The toothache is still there. We don't try to, again, ignore it or repress it. We honor that. We honor the pain. We honor the sensation of it. But because we're experiencing all of the body and breath, the sounds and the silence at the same time, it's really not that bad anymore. It's a minor player in the movie of your life that's unfolding. So the toothache is there, but so is all of the sensations of the body, sensations of the breath, all of the wonderful, beautiful sounds of the present moment, and the silent space, which is always there, always in the present moment. Now, this technique actually, that's quite good. That's enough actually to work as a pain management technique. It works with physical pain. It also works with emotional pain. But there's actually more stages to the practice. So if one practices a little bit longer, doing the breath, body, and sounds, then the practitioner is encouraged to open their eyes and meditate with the eyes open. And then taking in the entire visual field at the same time. Now that can take a few more months of practice. The visual field is quite large and rich, so many colors and emptiness as well in the visual field, objects and so forth. So once that settles in, that's really a lot of sensory experience to hold in awareness at the same time. So awareness now gets really, really quite vast. That toothache is still there, it's still the same size, but it gets really, really small, like that. And so it doesn't bother us any longer. There's pain in the body, or there's pain in the mind, there's pain in the heart. We're not repressing anything, we're not ignoring anything, we're not pushing anything away. We're actually using this technique to allow us the capability of honoring whatever it is that's arising in the present moment, whether it's heartbreak or anxiety or fear or an itch in the body or an infected gum, whatever the irritation is, whatever the pain is, whatever the experiences of the present moment. Allowing our awareness to be vast and open enough to embrace that entire experience. Because then we don't collapse down on any one particular part of the present moment. When we do collapse down, if this happens, and this might happen in a meditation like we did just a few minutes ago. You're feeling the breath, feeling the body, hearing the sounds. Maybe that itch arises in the shoulder, right? And you'll notice your awareness goes, collapses down right on that itch. At that point, that's it. Your awareness is just with that itch. And it feels very closed, right? It feels very collapsed down. And when you notice that, you expand back out. Awareness is now open, vast, clear. And so there's the difference there. And when one takes up meditation practice, when I work with people one-on-one, I always encourage people to notice that difference. Experience the close down, experience the shutness. If you're off in a train of thought, maybe you're started meditating, you're feeling the breath, feeling the back of the throat, feeling the rib cage, the abdomen, and then your mind is, thinking about, oh, that was a really great meal I had the other night. I love Thai food. I should have Thai food more often. I wonder, my brother really likes Thai food. I haven't talked to my brother in about a month. I should call my brother. Oh, I'm thinking. And you'll notice your awareness is just in those thoughts. And you say the word thinking to yourself, that allows those thoughts to dissolve. You come back to the present moment. You're wide, you're open, you're expansive. Just feeling the breath, feeling the body, your awareness is present. So there's a qualitative difference in experience when you're collapsed down on a thought or on a physical irritation like an itch or a pain, or an emotional irritation like a heartbreak or anger or fear or anxiety. There's this collapsed, closed feeling when that happens. And so you recognize that, oh, I feel very closed down. It's almost like you're in a coffin or a very small room, if you will. And then you recognize that, oh, I'm collapsed down. Feel the breath. Feel the body. Awareness expanding out. Now you've gone from the really small room to the mansion, like that. It feels much, much better. Even when the present moment is unagreeable, it feels much better to be in the present moment than to be collapsed down on thoughts about the unagreeableness or thoughts about the present moment. If you can just be with the visceral, physical sensations of the body, of the breath, hearing the sounds, it's a much more expansive, much more pleasurable, much more pleasant way to experience life. I think I answered all of the questions that I got. Well, I got about 4 or 5 questions on the same topic, so I think with that one sweeping improvisation, I covered them all, hopefully. And I think that's all I'll need to say tonight. I hope that was helpful, beneficial, enjoyable. If there are any questions about meditation practice, about what I do, what I offer, please send them over through Messenger, or you can visit my website, www.suchsweetthunder.org. Such Sweet, I'll fix that in the mix. SuchSweetThunder.com takes you to a Duke Ellington record. It's a really great record, but it's not meditation. But if you like swing music, I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. And I will be back tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. Thai time, 8 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Tomorrow I will resume the normal structure of the program. I'll be reading a poem and a commentary from my new book, A Voice from the Ever Change, as a way of guiding a meditation, of going deep, deep into a meditation practice like that. Thanks again. Stay safe, stay healthy. Please, please, please follow your social distancing. Stay home as much as possible, and be well. I'll see you all tomorrow.